Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy Taz back at you with another Digimon episode, discussion, breakdown, whatever you like to call it. So let me just jump right in, first saying how I felt about the episode on a rating scale, visually and overall. It was probably a 6 out of 10 for me, and I'll give you the reasons as to why. This probably wasn't the most polished episode, and within reason, there wasn't a lot going on that required it to be so seamless and or polished. There wasn't anything that was big and grand that was happening, but for what it was as a whole episode, I did enjoy it. So let's just start talking about that. We did get some more information regarding the Zurumon still running amok and siphoning data in various locations in the real world, still wreaking havoc and collecting energy into transporting it back into the digital world to what we don't know as far as the location is or whom the new big baddie is that's requiring this energy. We also don't even know if all the Digimon that wreak havoc or are wreaking havoc currently that may be moving forward in what I call the sub cyberspace, the first layer of the digital world, are all connected to what's currently happening in the deeper levels of the digital world. So we don't really know what's going on there. We did also see Izzy give us some new inside, information into what he's been doing with the Digivices or what's happened since his laptop actually got an upgrade, which they haven't said much about. I'd love if we got to see maybe someone explain that to him, maybe like Jedi, if Jedi even shows back up, or whoever the next person that could be the Jedi for this series is, to explain a little bit more about what Izzy is capable of. We do know that later down the lines in the other series, Izzy was responsible for developing new digitech, as well as implementing some of the knowledge and things he was able to gain from being the DigiDestined of knowledge and his workings with Genai to further enhance the Digivices that we saw some of the DigiDestined use, and as well as the current DigiDestined. If you have seen the last movie, won't say anything about that. But what he gave the DigiDestined was more or less a indicator for their mons. It would allow them to see any current things like stats, how they're feeling, what they're doing as far as health, basically just like an assistant screen. If you've ever played any RPG or anything that gave you a overall rundown of how your character was, if they had any buffs, debuffs, stats, and things like that. It will be interesting to see though if it did give you some type of information regarding how far your Digimon was close to actually hitting the next Digivolution prior, but I think that may be out of the scope of things right now. It's not too far off. And then we also saw our boy Leomon come in, disappear with a quickness though, because Eldoradimon was currently under attack by some unforeseen black lightning that we don't know where it came from, and more or less the lightning was hitting him, though he hadn't previously fully recovered from all his wounds from the miasma. Leomon and the others were more or less, they jumped into the fray to save the Digidestined, saying, hey, let's meet up again, which that leaves me with some hope that Eldoradimon may have saved Leomon, or Leomon and his little troop may have found a way to secure themselves without fully dying, because I believe Eldoradimon may have just submerged itself into the water. So it is a big impenetrable castle. Prior to what happened with the Devimon, Eldoradimon usually does have a big castle on its back. I don't know what that will be like now that the castle has been blown up. We will just see. Maybe it generates itself back over time. Who knows? Maybe Eldoradimon just has to do something in the digital world to recollect the data that it lost in order to gain that vessel back on its back. But with that, we have lost Leomon. For now, I'm calling it Leomon will not be gone. I do anticipate when Leomon's arrival shows back up, he will not just be a Leomon again, though. He may be a evolved version of Leomon. He may have gone through some Joshinka super evolution, maybe not a mega unless he does like a slide into Bancho Leomon of some sorts. Who knows? That'd be really interesting if he did show up to be Bancho Leomon, which I think is kind of dope. A lot of the Bancho Digimon are pretty nice. If you haven't looked into them, and I recommend you just looking them up, like Bancho Rosemon, Bancho Mamemon, Bancho Stingmon, of course Bancho Leomon, and I believe Bancho Golemon. Those are all different Bancho Digimon who in their own right deserve their titles, which is why they got their titles. But that's neither here nor there. So when the Digidestined get to the new island, they're attacked right off the bat by Tortamon, who are also as well champion level Digimon. And it's a horde of them. So like they're getting into the new world already coming out the gate with some new issues, some new, I wouldn't say villainy. There's not much villainy here, but lo and behold, it couldn't just be that easy because they all can fight champion level Digimon, even though there was a horde of them. TK and Kari had to sit back and, Kari doesn't have a Digimon yet. TK still kind of new to this whole thing, but they were sitting back in amazement and in awe, just like, wow, everything's really cool. And let me take a step back from that. When Kairi met all the Digimon, she doesn't seem phased at all, which, what would you expect from Kairi being who she is? I really think that this time around there's a lot of stuff that's going to be tying CK and Kairi into the digital world with their light and hope and darkness. I keep saying this, but I'm so looking forward to seeing how this turns out. And the big baddie shows up for this episode, which was Groundramon, which is basically a ground dragon Digimon who looks like he should have wings, or where his wings should have been. There are arms, his right arm having a metal plate on it, and the other just being a typical regular arm. And our DigiDestined are seeing how the food chain, or more or less the Digivolution cycle, works for those in the digital world who don't have partners. What's happening is they're noticing that they have to eat other Digimon, or Digimon have to eat each other. Basically, similar to the third Digitamers series. So basically, whenever they would defeat a Digimon, they would absorb the data of said Digimon, which will, one, help them grow, increase their stats and power, which I kind of like. They're pulling everything in and making it more what it should have always been as a show in its entirety. And once Groundramon shows up, he causes issues. I guess he's trying to store energy in order to reach his next level. Not sure how long ultimate level Digimon has to eat in order for it to evolve. Maybe if it ate a bunch of little Tortamon or even another ultimate level Digimon, that may have pushed it over the edge into achieving its next or perfect form. But that's neither here nor there. So the troops rally. Everybody has to go into their ultimate modes. Though Togemon and Ikakumon got captured right off the bat, and I thought it was kind of sad. I'm like, why did you have to get captured? Why did you two have to get captured? It could have been different, but that's neither here nor there. And they all try their best to, on the outside damage Groundramon, but it was impossible. So if you can't hurt him on the outside, why not hurt him on the end? We saw Wigarurumon in the Mercury mode. I think that's what it's called, and Wargreymon in the Sagittarius mode. He activated the arm, he charged that bad boy up, shoved it in Groundramon's mouth, and you can kind of guess the rest. The rest of the squad sat back, put all their energy, or channeled as much energy as they could into a beam, and let that thing loose. And our baddie was defeated, so we thought. And upon his, defeat, Dark Knightmon shows up to just basically poop on the day. He just came out of nowhere. He was not required. He wasn't even needed. We didn't even need to see him. He could have showed his face another time. But he also showed up, and our boy TK stepped up, or Takeru, however you choose to say it. Him and Patamon stepped up, and that little cutscene we saw from the other episode at the end there wasn't a new mode or a shift change. It was basically the start of the evolution from Patamon to Angemon, and that's kind of where our episode left off. Like I said, not the most impactful episode. Still a lot of questions to be asked, a lot of things to still be coming. I hope you guys are along for the ride and enjoying the content that I'm providing. I love covering Digimon. If there is a request, or if I got the time, because I am a dad, I would love to do some little videos on the Bancho line of Digimon, just for you guys to see, just because it's something I would enjoy, and I'm pretty sure some of the Digi people who watch these videos, you might enjoy it as well. But other than that, man, you guys be good. You be blessed. I will catch y'all back here again for the next episode discussion and or breakdown. Comment down below if there's anything you noticed, anything you liked or didn't like in the episode, and I'll be sure to respond back. But other than that, y'all be good. Be blessed. Peace.